In this video, I learned a better way to remove composite head gaskets, and I replaced these old brittle valve stem seals with new ones. So I just got off of work. Last night, the name of the game was getting the head off. Tonight, it will be cleaning the head and the block. So I picked up some scrapers and I'm gonna get to work and see how clean I can make it. If you're new to the channel, my name's Mac and I just love fixing broken cars. And if you're into that sort of thing, I invite you to hang out. I'm gonna enjoy myself and I hope you do too. Slow going, but I'm getting the old gasket off. All right, well that's it for tonight. I made some progress, but as you can see, I still have a lot to go. So I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow and continue the cleaning. Well, there are no more chunks of gasket material on the block. I scraped as aggressively as I was willing to get off the parts that I did. And a lot of this is stained. I mean, if you've done this before, now it all feels smooth, but it doesn't look good. So like I can see that there's black stuff here, but it feels smooth, but I want it to be perfect. So I still may get some sort of sandpaper or something to get it off. But yeah, this was just being patient with a little blade and scraping multiple times over the same area until it looked like bare metal. Now let's take a look at the head. Yep, and that is what is left of the gasket. And you can see where sections of the gasket came off and remained on the block. So, ooh yeah, that's gonna be fun. Look at that, and that is why we will be going with a multi-layer steel gasket. Oh man, let's see if any of this comes off easily. Not so much. Well, it's a Saturday morning and I'm back. I'm gonna see if degreaser helps loosen some of this gasket material. All right, I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna go work on the block a little more. In the past, when I was removing composite head gaskets, a razor blade was always enough. It took a while, but I never got so frustrated that I wanted to try something else. That's not the case this time. So I did some research and came across something that a lot of people like. So here I am after work and I picked up this 3M white Rolock disc, and I don't know why I thought it was bigger. Honestly, I don't know exactly what this goes in, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in my drill and see if it gets this off. I'm not even convinced I got it in enough, but we'll see. Nope. All right, what I didn't know when I bought this is that it needs a little holder. So I screwed this onto this, and now I'm gonna give it a try. And after feeling this, I feel less bad because it feels just like plastic bristles, but I will proceed with caution. Sort of working. Wow, it's sort of working. It's taking a while, but it's coming off, so I'm gonna keep going. This is actually pretty gentle. We'll see if I make low spots in the head. If I do, I'll just have to take it to a shop, but I'm gonna keep giving it a try. Well, I ran out of battery, so it's time to go home. I have finally got all the gasket material off the head, and you see it's a little dirty, but that's smearing from cleaning it off with the brake parts cleaner. So now I'm gonna go look at the block and see if I can do the same thing. But yeah, those things are great, but they don't make it quick. You still have to take your time, go over it, keep it moving, and eventually got clean. So with the head's mating surface finally clean, it was time to see if it was warped or if I made any low spots by trying to clean it. So with my feeler gauges and a straight edge, I checked across one diagonal, across the middle, across the other diagonal, across the intake side, and across the exhaust side. I think the head is good. Not in machine shop good, but not worth taking it to a machine shop. Because that is 0.0015 and the 0.002 is the spec, so it is flat enough. It was then time to remove the rockers so that I could get at the valve stem seals. So I am back from work, and it took some prying to free the rockers and whatnot from the lower part of the head. But I think I got it now. There we go. And this thing looks like it didn't get regular oil changes, or it's just that they used subpar oil. Way more sludge than I've seen in similar Hondas of this vintage and mileage, I should say. I mean, look at that. Look at that. And now that the rockers are off, all the valves should be recessed so I can sit it flat. Let's see if this valve spring compressor that I've had for so long will work. It might not. The little plate on top might be too small. And it is. So let's see if I got another solution. Sometimes you don't want to drive to the store, so you work with what you have. Oh yeah, that should help. Even though one side's bending faster than the other. Let's see if that works. And it looks like it will work. Got my magnet handy, let's see. There we go. Come on, you little keepers. And that is what I'll be replacing before I reinstall the head. So I'm going to do it on all of these. So that's 16 valves. So let's get to work. And those are the little keepers that I removed. I don't know if you could see it before. You know what? I might as well set this aside. Come on. So the old one is off. And now I got a bag full of new ones. And the valves seem nice and tight still, so I think we're good. And I believe this little thing is to aid in install. So I'm gonna put it over the valve stem, and let's see, can I slide this on? It goes right on. So now, push it on till it stops. I'm gonna get a little socket to help. Let's see, does this fit over it? It does. So I think that is fully seated. Yeah, I think it's fully seated. So now take that off. It's one installed. Oh yeah, this should be easy. Slide on in there, buddy. I think I got them nice and seated. I'm going to release the tension on the spring. And that is one done. And I'm going to do the same thing with the rest of them. With one done, the process gets a bit smoother. I just compress the spring with my modified valve spring tool, pull out the little keepers, and then it's a bit difficult, but then I remove the old valve stem seal, making sure not to damage the valve stem. Then I put the little protector on, reinstall the new one, make sure it's fully seated, replace the spring, put the keepers back on, and then release the spring. Simple as that. Take a look at this old, brittle, and cracked valve stem seal. You can see why it would consume oil and smoke. This is what a new one looks like, and this is what a new one looks like installed. Much better. So this is the last one. The process for the intake side was exactly the same as it was for the exhaust side. I turned this over to clean it off a little bit, and thankfully the kit I bought has these seals. So I'm going to replace them because they do need it. I mean, look, that's an O-ring. That's supposed to be an O-ring. It is no longer elastic. It's crazy what time will do to rubber. just snugging them down before I torque them to the specified values. So the order is starting in the middle of the middle, middle down up, middle down up, middle down up, middle down up, then up down, up down. It also makes sense to go ahead and replace the camshaft seals. It was definitely leaking. The new one. I then went ahead and drained the block because I imagine little bits of head gasket might have gotten in there. All the old coolant, and look at that. That's nasty. And then it was time to clean out the threads on the block in preparation to reinstall the head. But just to be sure, after cleaning the head, I wanted to make sure I didn't have any low spots. So I checked it, and it checked out good. To clean out the threads on the block, I prefer using a thread chaser, but I didn't have the right size and pitch, so I just used the old head bolts. I would run the bolt in, run it out, clean it, and repeat. I ran them in and out, until I convinced myself that the threads were clean. Some took longer than others to clean out, but that is to be expected, I guess. For added insurance, I spray head gaskets with this copper spray. It only adds a few minutes, and I've never had any issues with it. I'm gonna let it dry right there while I clean off the head and get ready to put it on. All right, I got that satisfying. Makes me think everything is seated, so I'm just gonna check everywhere I can see to make sure it's sitting flat, and it looks like it is. All right, got the new head bolts. A step you don't see is me putting a little bit of oil on the threads of the new head bolts and on both sides of the washer that's beneath the head of the bolt. I then torqued the head bolts in the sequence pictured, but I did not use the torque specifications for an 88 CRX Si. I used the torque specifications for a Civic with a D16 Z6. These engines came with a multi-layer steel head gasket. And since I was switching to a multi-layer steel gasket, I decided to use the torque specifications for that. And the final step was to line up the cam gear and the timing belt and put the timing belt back on. All right, back where it should be. I think that's a good stopping point for today. In the next video, I reconnect everything and start it for the first time. If you would like to follow along, hit subscribe. If you would like to see how I got the CRX, check out the playlist. Thanks for watching. Take care.